Welcome back to the Weekly Claw. It's Friday, July 31st, and not one Frontier model shipped this week. It still might be the most important week of the summer. We've got a shape, we've got risk, then economics, then what you can actually download, what you can actually run, and then what's only been announced, sorted by how much of it you can verify. We've got OpenAI disclosures, OpenAI open source security scanners, OpenAI price decreases, DeepSeek and Inkling, capabilities moved. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean,
Oh, we
like
do
you
have a
said,
cold
it's
open slide. Look at that.
yeah. That's why I was wondering because that's your startup site, dude. Yeah, there's just a lot happening. There's just a lot happening, to be honest. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. This one. I mean, we talk about it. The Codex Labs being I can hack you too, or I hacked you too. That's the funniest one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But, you know, there's a lot of promises made too, so we'll be really curious to see what comes of those. This week's episode is brought to you by Herald Labs, an applied AI product lab where humans and agents build together. Their product entity is mission control for agent teams, and they run hacker houses worldwide. So find them at labs.theherald.co. And back to the biggest security week both Frontier Labs have ever had.
Again, guys, I'm an AI optimist, so I'm not sure what you are. Please, if you can type in the chat, let us know what your views of AI. I mean, I reckon anybody who's in this community is an optimist, Andy, right? They're not going to be like a doomer, right? I hope, right? Right? Because like, why are you here, right? You must be excited about AI and what the things it's going to do for the world. So there's a lot happening, and there are two camps. So this week I have my agent always sending me stuff every day that's happening, and there's just a lot happening. I basically live on X. But what I try to do is to like find the most cool things that we could share today so that we could share them with you. But there's just a lot happening. There's just so much happening. We can't put it all into an hour, right? It's like so much happening. And as we're talking now, there's another breaking news. Maybe.
You can't be serious.
There's just so much, right? I was watching Elon's the podcast he did with the Economist, and he was talking about it was last week, and he was talking about how he goes from terror to like excitement. It's like something else happens, and he's like and then something else happens. It's like he just like flips between. It's going from one emotion to the other. But anyway, okay, cool. This week, there are a few cool things that happened. I think we talked about last week we talked about OpenAI hacking Hugging Face, right, Andy?
Yeah. Briefly. Now we have details.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that now. So we're talking about that real quick. But Andy, I think we can go into the slides, right? So yeah. So I mean, if you don't know the details, OpenAI is, it came out last 2-3 weeks. Hugging Face, Clam came out to say, hey guys, we had an agentic hack on our platform, and we know it's not human because the way it was coordinated was just too advanced, right? But we were able to stop it. And then last week, OpenAI kind of like talked about it, and some man, and they tweeted and said, hey guys, we noticed that one of our research models hacked Hugging Face. And then the details were released this week, and apparently it wasn't just Hugging Face. It hacked like three other third party or three others like providers along that. And Hugging Face released a very detailed will I call it now traces? Andy, like what's the word to call that? They released like a super detailed like of everything that happened, like all the traces, how it happened. Did you see that?
The postmortem, forensic postmortem, yeah.
Yes, for instance, yeah. So it was very detailed. But the one that was a bit crazy this week was Anthropic showed up 2 days ago, I believe, to say that, hey guys, actually, we also had our models hack a bunch of providers. And here's the crazy part. It didn't happen today or yesterday or like 2 days ago. It happened like months ago. And so apparently they went to their logs and then found that I think Opus 4.8 and Fib and Mythos had also sort of like hacked a bunch of companies. But theirs was a bit more, I feel like theirs was a bit more performant. Andy, I don't know if you read it, but theirs was a bit more performant because what they basically said was they told the model that it didn't have access to the internet, and then they put the model on a third party. So this wasn't on their own sandbox. I mean, obviously they don't want to say it's on theirs, but it's on a third party sandbox that's doing a service, and then the third party enabled the internet. So in the prompts, they told the model, hey, you don't have access to the internet, but then it did have access to the internet. So the model used the internet to do things, right? So I mean, I think I talked a little bit about Conspiracy Corner last week, where I don't think I did, but I think there's some sort of conspiracy around, are these things actually hacking, or are they just being prompted to hack so that people can say that they hacked? Or if it's actually hacking production systems of companies, somebody should be liable for them. Like, you can't just say, hey, Claude hacked something. No, like, what do you mean? Like, Claude is a piece of software that you Anthropic maintains or you OpenAI maintains, and you should be held liable if anything happens. So these are some of the kind of like conversations happening in public. So it's starting to raise concerns. I mean, raise like points as well. As an enterprise, how do you deploy these agentic systems if they are able to escape sandbox, right? So imagine me and Andy, let's say we have a company. Andy shouldn't have access to HR data, but Andy should have access to some payroll data. And I say, hey, find me payroll data. And then the model keeps looking and finds more data that it shouldn't find. So that starts to become a problem in enterprise. So how do you deploy those models safely? It's beyond it being like a kind of like a cybersecurity event. It's even just within companies. How do you prevent like employees or kind of like people who shouldn't have access to certain information from using a model, and because these models are so persistent, to have access to it? And your thoughts?
Well, it seems like OpenAI and Anthropic are auditing each other, but who's auditing them, right? At this point, the access to the details is really gatekept, and so how can we even really know what they're doing if they don't tell us? Luckily, at this point, at least they have been. So,
yeah. I mean, the
as far as we know
that happened. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that happened, and I get it now why Clem said this, and I just watched the clip, Clem's clip. I'll try to put it on the chat when Andy's kind of like presenting. So Clem is the CEO of Hugging Face, who was in CNN today, talking about how obviously OpenAI's models hacked them, and the only way they could protect themselves is by using an open source model. And so the anchor was asking him, because the administration is looking at banning, or the US admin is looking at banning open source. Should that happen? It's like, obviously not, because if that had happened, he wouldn't have been able to protect himself, right? The thing would have taken down his stuff and would have had no protection. So open source is starting to become, when you're saying who's auditing them, open source is starting to become that, you can call it foundation, that people have to audit these companies. Like, we can hold them accountable. We can have protection outside. For instance, you can't use Fable to do model development. You can't use it to do any cybersecurity work. But anyways, so that's it from on this corner and on that conversation around security. Andy? Okay.
You got it.
On the Yeah. So another cool thing I wanted to mention, I mean, there are a few stuff around the labs, some of the things they put out today. Obviously the postmortem from Anthropic, I talked a little bit about it. Another thing that was super cool, also linked to security, that happened was OpenAI released a security product called Codex Security. It's an open source product. I mean, you can GitHub link is on there. At least the OpenAI link that leads you to the GitHub is on there. And so it's a version of. I mean, I've been using DeepSeek. Andy, have you heard of DeepSeek versus DeepSeek?
I've heard of it. I haven't been using it.
Yeah. So I mean, I sent it to. I mean, one of my companies. I sent it to them because again, we have like huge healthcare data in a few countries. So we've been using it. We've used it to scan our kind of like products and then try to fix some of the issues it's recommended. So when this came out, I also had them look at it and compare, and they said it was pretty similar. I found pretty similar issues. But this is cool because I mean, what this is also telling us is OpenAI is also trying to be a bit more helpful, you know, especially with this with the thing that happened with the model hacking other companies. They're like, okay, cool, here is help, guys, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah. Well, and with limitations in their other platforms, you know, having the right tool is going to be important.
Yes, correct. Okay, and I talked about the Anthropic thing, so let's go to the next thing. I mean, this was a big news. I'm sure everybody who's in here knows about this already. If you don't, it's Christmas. OpenAI dropped 80%. I feel like it's 90%. But okay, cool. But yeah, 80%. Adar disagrees with me. I think I was telling it 90%. I was like, no, it's 90. It's not. It's not 90. It's 80. The title of the slide is actually a response to me. Okay, guys. So, I mean, I'm sure you're following what's been going on in the last few weeks with the enterprises. Obviously, people are worried that model costs are going to keep ballooning. If you work at a big company and you guys have got thousands of employees or hundreds of thousands of employees, and they all start using Claude or start using OpenAI, you know, the bills just keep going up, right? So cost has been efficiency has been a big thing. Andy, we talked about this last week, where we said companies will start benchmarking and marketing on efficiency. So that's already obviously happening. So OpenAI came out this week to say that they had massive efficiencies or massive gains, production gains. So has been working on itself. I mean, they're like trying to tell us a little bit that recursive self-improvement has started, and Soul found a ton of efficiency, and they're giving that efficiency back to the consumers, right? Which is awesome. So the 90 or 80%, or you know, it's 80% on Luna, it's 20% on Terra. That apparently is gains. Yes, Andy, is it 90%? Did they put the number there? Yes, 20% for
80% here.
Yeah, 80%. Ada, you're correct.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah. No, but I was just pointing this out, right? The Luna performs, you know, beyond GLM 5.2 and Cloud Opus 5 on low. Yeah.
And it's like, what is that? That's not even happy. That's a tenth of the price, right? Because this Opus is at $50 per task, and this is 0.5. So it's like 10x cheaper.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. So what does this mean for you? What I immediately did when I saw this was I went to my I have something in the universe of 300 crons. I mean, weekly Claw, we've added maybe some 20 crons in the last week, so around like 320 crons. So I have a lot of crons. I basically run my life with crons. I mean, obviously these slides are all made by our agents, and these are all crons. So I run a ton of crons. I think this is a way to get to some sort of autonomous way of doing things. And so I just went to all my crons, and I just told Ada, that's my main agent, hey, what do you think? What should we do? And I think we moved something like 60% of our crons to Luna High, moved another 20% to Terra Mid, and then left. So these crons used to be maybe on GLM, on Gemini, and other things like this. So we moved a lot of them to this. So yeah. So I don't know. Let us know in the chat what you have started to do with this.
That's the right question.
Yeah. Andy, what are you doing? Have you started thinking about it?
I have started thinking about it. So my wife runs our children's homeschool almost entirely in OpenClaw now, and
Woo!
it doesn't cost very much. Even on Sol 5.6, it's like well within my subscription at this point. She's still learning what it can do, and so it's a lot of transactional requests and build
Good, do
this
that.
report or whatever. But as we start to launch, so we have you ever seen the skylight calendar that you put on the wall, and it's like an Android device that shows all of your family calendars in one spot? This is kind of a big deal for us.
Interesting.
It has an API, sort of. It's accessible enough to OpenClaw that it might as well have an API. And we deployed in their task management system like a daily cron that runs to assign tasks on the farm to the different kids, and they get mixed up and they get scored on what time of day
And he has
they
a big
complete
farm,
the task.
guys. That's what he's talking about. He has a factory where he just
Yeah.
like his family is the factory workers.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can see as she's starting to see that these recurring things are possible, that we're going to end up with more and more crons. And Luna is more importantly, though, we're doing recorded call analysis in my professional arena.
Your company?
And the more advanced stuff has a multi-step analysis where the first step tries to match the call against several different sets of criteria to determine which type of call it was. And then a smarter model does like a scoring against against a scorecard for the particular type of call that was identified. And we started testing Luna on that first step. So Luna's new pricing is less than GPT-5 Mini, which is what we were using previously. So I'm assuming we're going to end up switching to that in production, and that will make real savings.
Yeah, incredible. Okay, I'm going to try to run through the other ones.
Go.
Can give you. Okay, cool. I mean, this was another cool thing that happened from OpenAI. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in it, but basically what happened is OpenAI came. GPT 5.6 so came out on. I think it was 13. Is that what it's saying? It's 13% for the ARC price. And when Opus 5 got out last week or something like that, it had a much higher number. And so what OpenAI is showing from this week was that they were able to get massive efficiency or massive production gains, and was able to hit a much higher benchmark on ARC AGI by just dialing two settings on Codex, right? Settings that allowed the model to keep working longer instead of just stopping. So that's like a big deal. And because what this thing told me, and I'm always live in commentary with the community on X, and I guess what this validates, Andy. I think me and you did this on the 2 fight or the whatever our session is that we back and forth things.
The
2 weeks ago when we were talking, yes, hot takes, when we were talking about model and harness, right? And you were kind of making the case that harness is now the main thing, and models were kind of commoditized, and we're kind of still managing different points. What this shows is actually the harnesses are a massive leverage, right? Massive leverage.
So much influence. The difference between like an out of the box Pi coder and something that's got memory and optimized tools and maybe some optimized replacements for grep, then the token usage is so much better, and the outputs are so much more reliable, like night and day different. And you can use the same model to see both results. And we've gotten to the point where the models are so good that it comes down to what tool are you using in what configuration to get the results that you're looking for. You look at Mirafish and OpenClaw. You could use OpenClaw and crons and repeating tasks to simulate events the way Mirafish does, but you're using the wrong tool, and so you could easily use 10,000 times the tokens and maybe not even get the same results.
Correct. I mean, those Composio released some benchmarks yesterday and today as well. One of the benchmarks was that the same task costs almost like 2.2 times more on Cloud Code versus like Codex and Pi and so on and so forth. So that's on X today, on Composio's X. You guys should check it out. But harness is like so important, right? Like if you're worried about cost, check the harness you're using. And I guess like as we keep moving towards AGI, you're going to start having like more specialized harnesses for different things. Right now, what we have are super apps. Codex is more of a super app. OpenClaw to some extent is a super app. Hermes, Cloud Code. But as we start to move, you're going to start to have like very specialized harnesses for like different industries. Okay, keep it going. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the most exciting news for me. This one and the next one. Where do I start? So let me start with thinking machines. I mean, last 2 weeks ago we talked about Inkling. Inkling is the model that thinking machines launched. That is built more for fine tuning for mostly again American companies that you want to have a partner that helps you fine tune the model and get to state of the art, right? That is better than Fable. And so Thinking Machine is positioning themselves to be that partner. Another company, American company that launched to be in this position is Laguna. We talked about Laguna last week. So Thinking Machines released the model today or yesterday into today, Inkling Small, and it's a really great model. It's a really great model. Andy, I think they're going to have, they should have an MLX one now that you can run on your 128 gig Mac, and it'll be great, right? And the crazy thing about it was it's much smaller than the DeepSeek. The DeepSeek preview, it has vision, it has speech. It's incredible. It's multimodal, and it hits the same benchmarks as the DeepSeek. And so the funny thing was yesterday we were all kind of like on X going crazy and being like, oh my God, it's so much better than DeepSeek. It's much smaller and so on and so forth. And then today DeepSeek says, hold up, guys, hold up. Hold my beer. And then they dropped DeepSeek V4 Flash. I haven't tested it yet, but I had Adapt pull it down a couple of hours ago and then start running benchmarks, some of our internal benchmarks. What do you think about it?
I'm thrilled. My biggest thing was image, vision. I'm thrilled to have something that we can run locally that'll handle vision. I think it's really important. So many workflows work just easier, simpler if you can drop a screenshot in, and the idea that you might be able to build something quite a bit more complex, with a live camera or something. I don't know. Just these capabilities are going to. I mean, you think of humanoid robots; they're going to have vision, and now here we are with models that are going to do it. I mean, funny little stuff. Just not even really. I guess it's off topic, but a lot of progress was made on the ESP32 this week with live vision.
What's ESP32? I'm not sure I know what that is.
Ooh, it's a. I got one right here. It's like a little microcontroller. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It's a microcontroller, really low power,
like a Pi kind of thing.
Less power, so it doesn't have an operating system. You program it in Python, and it essentially creates like machine code on the microprocessor. Okay. And there was a Rust implementation launched for it today, or not today, this week. Arduino. Thank you, Feathers. Appreciate your help.
Oh, Arduino. I know Arduino. Yeah, I know Arduino. Yeah.
Okay. But the board. I mean, it's really tiny, and it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all the things. So you can program it in C++. There's lots of interpreters. It's a very sort of simple and accessible platform. It's very flexible. Well, they've made language in the last 2 weeks. They've made language models almost conversational on it, locally.
How big is it? What can it fit in? Like how much storage and stuff does it fit in?
Very, very little. Like an SD card,
like 1 gig, something like that. Like 1 gig, because there are models that are that small, right, or something like that.
Exactly. How much RAM? 32. I don't have any 512K of internal SRAM.
Oh wow, that's really
2 to 8 megabytes. 2 to 8
Ooh,
megabytes of
that's
external
small.
PS RAM, and then for storage, you can usually, put an SD card in it.
Okay.
But they've used these, hundreds of millions of parameter models to make them useful in small conversational things, focus scope. And then another guy built a targeting computer out of it that has face recognition. No, there were two separate ones. One guy created face recognition and like tracking. And so
Uh-huh.
this little ESP is using machine learning to, super low latency follow faces. And then separately, another guy wired up what looked like a firearm, but it was a laser. And on a computer, he could move his mouse and click, and it would just and it would go right to exactly the spot. And again, using machine learning, and the capabilities of the models are getting better
Getting
even as they get smaller.
they,
That's
they
all I'm
can
trying
live
to
on
say.
edge devices now. I mean,
Yeah.
so the guys, the why this is very mind blowing for me is I predicted that we were going to have GPT 5.5 level model running on my computer next year, like literally a year, and like I have to tweet on my ex, I literally as like a year ago, and with DeepSeek V4 Flash, it's 5.5, close to it's 4.8. Some of the metrics is neck to neck with Opus 4.8, and this can run today on 2 Sparks, right? And I'm sure and this is just the core, I think, 8-bit model. You're going to have quantized versions now that will be able to run on, on a 128 gig Mac. You're probably going to have people quantize it a bit more. Kimi, for instance, Andy, I don't know if I have it in the slides, but Kimi launched launched I think 2 weeks ago, and then the actual weights came out this week, and people already quantized it to 1 beat, and they're running it already on like 512 Max Studios. Remember, this is a 2.3, $2.7 trillion parameter model, and it's already running on like Max Studios. But yeah, cool.
Hotness.
Yeah, so let's keep it moving. I think I just have one more thing. Yeah, I think this is the comparison. You can see what the metrics look like. Again, guys, we always have the slides up. We're gonna have it up on the website. I think one of the things we should maybe do is even just have it up ahead of the show so that you can have it open and follow it if you want. So we'll do that next week. But like 5 minutes after the show, you're gonna have it. And Andy, you can even tell Ada to just put it up right now for people.
We'll do.
Yeah. So, but the metrics look. You can see what the metrics look like. DeepSeek is 1 million. Inkling is 1 million. DeepSeek is MIT, Apache. This is why Inkling is obviously exciting. It's multimodal, so you could do like real time audio in and audio out. So that's super exciting, right? That's definitely going to have its use. And then you can see what the prices are on. I mean, that's if you're buying it from DeepSeek.com. But I mean, it's an open source model, so you should have it locally. I already have it locally on my DGX box. So vendor reported Flash only upgrades. But these are great models, guys. Go and cook. You have 0 excuse to not cook anymore, right? Like if you don't have a 128 gig Mac, I don't know, save up. You don't have a Spark, save up. But come on, unless you just want to keep paying Anthropic and OpenAI, man, you should just have one of these sitting in your house and just like churning out stuff for you, right? Running your crons or like feeding you stuff.
So Henry, help me here, because DeepSeek 4 Flash has been around for a minute. I took it with me to Europe on my 128 gig Mac. What is the latest release? Was there a change?
Yeah, so that one was preview. That wasn't the main. That was like a checkpoint in the model training. So that wasn't the main thing. That was just the checkpoint. Yes, it was a preview.
Oh wow! I've been basically using it in production.
Yeah,
it's
it's good. I mean, preview is good. It's just the checkpoint and the training, and now they're like, okay, cool. Here's the main thing. And the Pro isn't out yet. The Pro, obviously, we expect the Pro will probably be like Kimi 3 per max level. Yeah, bro.
Sweet. Love it.
Awesome. But the exciting thing about it, Andy, is it's the same weight, it's the same size. So every single config you had for the old one would still work. Just put it in. Like all everything works. Put it out of the box. You just get like 20 to 30% better performance and everything. Terminal bench, SW Pro, everything is just like 20 points up. It's great.
Good, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's I think let's round it up here. I think Kimi like I mentioned, I mean, I think I already talked about this already. So Kimi is is a huge model, but people already have quantized versions, right? They already have a 1.4, they have a 500. It's like they've kind of like getting it down to whatever level you are.
They're trying. They're almost
Yeah.
making it, and they're trying.
The open source community is so awesome. Like Laguna, we talked about Laguna last week. Laguna announced they did a sort of a, I would like call it I won't call it a hackathon, but it had some sort of competition where they put up a leaderboard and they were working with a company, MLX something, to try to increase the speed of Laguna 2.1 on Max, and they were able to get to 94% in like 3 days. So they
And
were
wasn't
able
it
to get
something like 140 tokens per second or something? I feel like I saw
yeah,
that.
they got it so it's so, and I think it was like 40% up like 2 hours into the thing. Like someone like, so it was sort of like a crowdsourced compute so people could like do auto research and figure out how to get it faster. And so everybody was just like running auto research on their stuff, getting the model good, submitting their code and their stuff to them. And like today we have like a Laguna 2.1 that is 100% better. So whenever you see a model like today, DeepSeek dropped, and Onslaught already has a quantized version for every single platform. So I'm starting to see the beauty of open source. People just like working very hard, pushing things as quickly as they can, so just have these things out here for people to use. Exciting.
Yeah, I got it. Sure. So, 3 serious video models landed this week, and they're attacking 3 different parts of the workflow. Minimax H3 launched today with text, image, video, and audio. 2K output up to 15 seconds, native stereo audio, omni-reference across up to 9 images, 3 videos, and 3 audio clips. It's live through Hailu and the Minimax API. Open weights are promised, but not downloadable today. ByteDance's Seed Dance 2.5 also launched today through Dreamina. Its wedge is long-form control, native 30-second generation, and long video mode up to 3 minutes. Targeted editing of characters, environments, and camera movement, 1-second timestamp control, and up to 50 multimodal references. Those are official launch claims. Access is for Dreamina subscribers in the initial launch regions. And then Flux 3 took a third route. It has a self-flow backbone across image, video, audio, and action, with videos up to 20 seconds and native audio and gated early access. Flux 3 dev weights are promised again, not downloadable today. So 1 week, 3 new video models. Minimax sells multimodal reference plus audio. Dance sells long takes plus surgical editing, and Flux has 1 backbone across media and action. The model is only half the product. So here's Minimax H3.
So good. And by the way, guys, is open weight, so you can download this very soon and run it on your hardware. That one looks like it's loading. Okay, there you are. That's great.
There's audio. Let me share it.
No, there's audio in the thing, and yeah. Wow, look at the quality. On the X thing, the audio typically starts off, so you have to click on the X.
I can hear it. Hang on.
It's all right. It's all right. Don't mess your setup up for it. It's fine. People can find the link on the slides. This is so high quality, dude.
It's really beautiful.
Is this Minimax? This is Minimax, yeah. Crazy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So guys, this is also going to be open weight, so you're going to be able to just like download it and put it in your Cook.
Beautiful. Sea Dance.
And you can imagine in like a year's time or 2 years' time, like you can't tell the difference between AI generated video and real video anymore.
Oh, look at that. Anyway, you can check them out in our slides. They're linked in our slides. So, it's hot. I mean, there's more to say, but 4:45. So, shall we? Definitely take a look at those. That's slide 13. This week I've got a signal from outside. We closed the news block with a signal outside the usual feed, and this week it's going to come from Chase Center. Gary Tan sat down with Jensen Huang on stage for Y Combinator Startup School. The talk went up on July 26th. It's about 49 minutes long, and 20 minutes in, Jensen starts to talk directly about OpenClaw, which is the part that we'll spend most of our time on. But the setup matters. Tan opens by asking what people get wrong about NVIDIA's early story, and Huang goes right at it. The technology NVIDIA started with in 93 was, in his words, absolutely wrong. By 95, the approach clearly didn't work, and 35 or 40 competitors were already building 3D graphics chips. So Jensen walks back to the office, admits the company has no idea how to do it right, and takes what little cash they have, walking to Fry's Electronics, and buys textbooks on OpenGL pipeline design. And that's literally how NVIDIA relearned computer graphics. And then there's this like Sega aside. I don't know if you knew this. Sega had the contract for what became Dreamcast, and Jensen flew to Japan and had to tell Sega CEOs that they'd taken $12 million and couldn't deliver, but they needed to keep the money.
Yeah.
So the CEO bet on him as a person, basically gave him $5 million and kept NVIDIA alive long enough to figure out the pipeline. Jensen's framing of the lesson was that the technology doesn't matter. What matters is whether you can confront reality and go learn, which I think is what we're essentially doing at least in January. What we were doing with early agentic implementations. We thought a theory would work, we'd build it, we'd try it, and it would do a really cool thing, but then it wouldn't be secure, or it would glitch on a particular model, and we just had to go learn. From there, how he thinks. Are you familiar with AlexNet? AlexNet, rather?
AlexNet, yeah, I'm familiar. The precursor to, or kind of like the transformer thing, the very early thing that changed everything.
Yeah. So
I learned about the NVIDIA story and the AlexNet story when I read 2 books about NVIDIA late last year.
Okay. All right. Well, AlexNet wasn't a novelty. It was proof that deep learning is a universal function approximator. And recognizing that 15 years ago, that's what sent NVIDIA into vision and robotics. And he calls staying close to the technical detail as CEO a personality technique. And he has this line worth repeating. He says, you're building an F1 car that you're the one who has to drive. And so you build it to fit yourself. You build the organization around you to fit yourself, not a playbook. So Tan brings up OpenClaw directly, and Jensen answers basically with a love letter. He's obviously deeply affectionate to then ClaudeBot, now OpenClaw, and Peter specifically. He says his first reaction on seeing it was, without much imagination, that it was a very Linux moment, which we've heard him say before. This is the operating system that's going to hold a large language model, and now everybody can build their own AI. And he says, NVIDIA reached out to Peter directly and told him, quote, all of NVIDIA's engineers are now your engineers, and you've got this battleship parked outside your house. So break the problem down however you want, and we'll contribute as you wish. Apparently, they made the same offer to the Hermes team. Internally, he said, NVIDIA let 1,000 flowers bloom. Some engineers on Claude Code, some on Codex, some in Cursor, some on Cognition, and NVIDIA learns from watching all of it.
He's an ecosystem guy. He always likes to, he doesn't like to take sides. He always likes to put everybody up. So whether that's on the model side, he would like do business with Anthropic, with OpenAI, with everybody. He sells up everybody. Same thing with like OpenClaw. He would like do the same partnership with Hermes, with like everybody else. He just thinks he thinks doesn't think everything should be zero sum. He thinks everybody should win, and the pie is big enough.
Yeah, I love that. Well, right before that, he lays out what he thinks the actual unsolved problem is for agents. And this might be the most useful few minutes of the whole talk for builders. Systems thinking is becoming a core skill because most of the low-level work, like chip synthesis in his world, most software in ours gets done agentically regardless. What's still missing is fine-grained controllability, which is interesting because it goes back to the Codex problem and OpenAI's performance in that benchmark. He wants to change one word in a plan file and get a specified contained delta instead of a totally different output. Just for example, his framing was agents don't need to read 100% of the file, and they don't need to be 100% right or 80 or 90% right. We'll get the job done as long as humans can steer the remainder of the work. So steerability, not raw capability, is, quote, probably the single biggest breakthrough we need for agents at every level. The rest quickly with labels on jobs. He pushes back on the doom narrative, just like Henry does. AI eliminates tasks, not jobs. And he cites software engineering employment up 10% year over year and radiology jobs up 20%. They're his figures, not independently audited, so hold them as Jensen says. But on robotics, he says the ChatGPT moment for robots has already happened, and that NVIDIA's self-driving stack, Alpamayo, is close to a $10 billion business that they open sourced. And again, the simple stuff gets automated like long division did. And the deep systems work that needs to be done only gets more valuable. Resilience is the skill with regard to jobs. And his mindset on anything new is how hard can it be? Knowing the honest answer is always harder than you think. I think if people are building on or around OpenClaw, this matters because it's rare to get the head of NVIDIA on the record, unprompted, offering his own engineering organization to a project, which, not that we need them today, but it's a concrete signal of how seriously infrastructure takes OpenClaw. His open problem is controllability. Steering an agent through something as small as a one-word edit maps onto the harness work a lot of you guys are already doing. So if 80% plus steering is enough, what does that mean for how we build? Think about that. I think it feeds into our last segment. The hot takes.
The hot
takes.
Maybe I think it's actually an interesting segment to have the audience come back and forth on. We save ourselves we always agree on everything, right? So it's like, hey guys, come hot take. who wants to pick side A and side B and push back on each other? But anyways, go ahead, sir.
For sure. So the word open shipped 4 different products under one label. Downloadable is DeepSeek under MIT, Inkling Small under Apache 2. They announced Minimax H3 and Flux 3 Dev, but they didn't release them. And client only, right. The Codex Security CLI, Apache 2.0 wrapper around a gated engine. So here's the proposition. By the end of Q3, open weight claims get audited like benchmark claims. So if you didn't actually publish your downloadable artifact with a license file, it's not a headline anymore, or it gets redacted. The labs have burned enough credibility on announced versus shipped that the press will start demanding the file tree before the launch post. And honestly, this week they'd be right too. I don't even know if I could take this position fully, because have we really been let down that badly?
Not really. It's free, man. It's open source. Don't mind that. It's just being dramatic. I mean, I guess, yeah, it's valid. It's valid. But I mean, again, I kind of like the pushback for that is it's good. It's good. this should happen because this companies releasing open source models need to have a business model, right? Because we get these things for free because they are a business, because they are sustainable, right? If they can't pay the bills, we wouldn't get any of these. So I love that they're adopting. Again, they didn't invent any of these. Again, some of these licenses have existed. And on X, I've had people explaining the different business models that open source companies have, and I've learned quite a lot from that. So I think it's exciting. With DeepSeek with Kimi, for instance, one of the things they did is you can use the model, but if you have X number of users, then you have to put some attribution to them. If you have another X number of users, you have to pay them some license fee, or you have to come to the table to talk. For me and you, for people doing research, for people doing kind of like normal stuff, it's great. We can use these models. But if you start building a very big company and you start raising billions, you should contribute a little bit of that to the company building the infrastructure. So I get it. It's still open, even though it might not be, open for every use case as people would want.
Yeah. I'd argue like Codex Security being a gated engine behind an open client, it's still a real ecosystem win. Pre-commit hooks, serif exports, CI gating, cost guardrails. That's infrastructure the community builds on, even if the brain stays rented. But, I don't know, open washing for better PR. I don't know. Maybe it's it's got to be useful. It's good. It's good that they've open sourced the tool. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll take it.
And listen, this isn't also just washing, right? They open source stuff all the time. They open source Symfony a few months ago. Codex CLI, most people don't know Codex CLI is open source as well. So they, yes, people would want their models to be open source, sure, because they started initially as open source. But like I said, there needs to be a business model. But now I guess as people are starting to prove that actually you can build a business as an open source company, I suspect that OpenAI will consider. I think we had an OSS. The 120B OSS was last year, right? So I reckon before the end of this year they will put out something.
Yeah, they should probably do that. That would be great. Why don't you take this one?
So again, also brought to you is Heritage Telecom, just really Andy's. Trusted phone system from trusted people, the whole communication stack for your business, dependable phones, failover, routing or reporting, and practical AI that turns calls into action. One accountable provider who actually matters. Check them out at heritagetel.com.
Thanks, Henry.
Awesome.
So 3 receipts waiting for next Friday. We'll hope to get Anthropic's redacted Python Py transcript. They promised it. The METR review will read both against OpenAI's July 21st disclosure, and then hopefully we'll get the weight drops. Minimax 8.3, Flux 3 Dev, DeepSeek V4 Pro says soon. So first downloadable artifact with a license file wins the headline, right?
Yeah.
And the harness gap. Who reruns flagship benchmarks with retained reasoning and compaction, and how many Q3 leaderboard moves turn out to be plumbing? All 3 of those are watch items, so we'll see what the vendors bring.
Awesome. Well, don't forget to check us out at the weeklyclaw.ai, and we're going to have to show up in a few hours in the YouTube channel. We've got the past shows up, and every single thing we've talked about, we've have the source links. It should be on the website right now. So I'm going to put the link on the chart so that you can have access to this if you want to take a look at it. We were going to run a poll, but I don't think we didn't kind of like get time to do it. So maybe sometime next week we'll do that. So we would love to hear what you want us to kind of like talk about. Like Andy talked about in the chat, we used to talk a lot about in the beginning about OpenClaw, but as we've moved to LTS, there isn't a ton to talk about. And then Hans also has a show on Wednesdays where he talks a lot about OpenClaw stuff. So we thought to kind of like open this up to general AI stuff. But do keep giving us feedback, and what are the things you want us to improve? What do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to share? And we will try to make the show better for you.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, that's great. Thanks everyone. Give us feedback, not just on the show, but on the website. What resources you think would be useful? Now that we've got Henry's entity, Super Ada, running the website and the show research, it should be something that we can improve pretty easily. So send us the feedback. We appreciate all of you joining us. You're you're a privilege. You give us a privilege to be able to review all of this with you. We appreciate you, and have a great week. We'll see you next Friday.
Thank you for making us smarter, right? Because we've got to come talk about this thing, so we put in the work. So we appreciate you. You make us better. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Awesome.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.